What's up, bud? It's Rob. This is Apparel Success, and in this video right now, I was shocked that on this channel, I haven't made a video yet that gives you a step-by-step guide for how to launch a new clothing brand. So in this video here, I'm going to give you a fast guide, all right? This is how to start up a clothing brand really, really quickly, but do it in a way that is potent, is professional, and saves you as much money and time as possible, okay? I think that this video is going to be absolutely amazing for those of you thinking about starting up a new clothing brand, or if you already have, this is really going to help tighten your whole process up. I'm stoked to get into it. Here it is. This video here is sponsored by my buds over at BrandCrowd, and if you need designs made for your clothing brand, I highly recommend you check out BrandCrowd. BrandCrowd has a tool called the Logo Maker tool, which is where they have a vast library of professionally designed logos that are fully customizable. So you can add your own fonts, your own layout to it. All of that's free to try. Once you decide that you actually like the logo, you can decide to purchase it and remove it from the marketplace entirely. If you're interested, follow the link in the description below because it'll give you up to 33% off at checkout. All right, let's just jump right in here. Let's start at ground zero, and then I'm gonna take you through the whole process of actually launching your clothing brand and getting it to the point where you're able to actually ship out orders and make some money. So basically, this whole process that I share with you here is going to allow you to do this without spending a lot of money, like literally like a couple $100 max, and it's gonna be sick, all right? So step number one to starting up your clothing brand is obviously to choose a name and come up with your idea for your clothing brand. Now, when it comes to giving you advice on how to choose an idea for your clothing brand and come up with the right name, I have a bunch of other videos on, how to actually decide on your brand idea. But generally, a lot of this comes down to you as a clothing brand owner having your own creative idea, coming up with a name that you like. And really, the only piece of advice that I'd give you here is to choose an audience, choose a market that you actually know and that you'll be able to create clothing for because you understand that audience and you understand what they like. If you go for an audience that you don't really like and you're just trying to make money out of it, your heart won't be in it, number one. And number two, the clothing that you end up making won't really be able to match that market and they won't probably like it as much as one that you actually know the market of, okay? So that's the advice that I have. That's step number one. We haven't spent any money yet. You're just coming up with, an idea and a name for your clothing brand. Then what I do once you have that name and that idea is I'd go on Google and I'd do some research into whether that clothing brand idea and name already exists. Okay, you want to do some research just to make sure that you don't start investing a lot of time now building this clothing brand into something that already exists in the marketplace. So do some research. You can do some trademark searches. I think a lot of them are free on Google, and just make sure that the name's not taken, that the whole idea hasn't been done yet. So step two, what I do before I do anything else is I'd go on GoDaddy and I'd make sure that the website URL that you want isn't taken, okay? So you make sure that you can actually purchase that website URL, and then I'd go on Instagram, I'd make a Facebook page, and I'd just claim the names that you just come up with for your clothing brand on all these different social media platforms, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and whatever else you want to do. Those are the main ones that we use, and I'd make sure that the URL for the website is actually still available. Now, step three is where you're going to actually design your primary logo, okay? This is the logo that's really going to be the main logo for your brand. Now, I don't want you to get too caught up in making this logo like the most perfect thing ever and getting crazy hung up on it and spending a couple years on it. The logo that we initially created for our brand, we ended up scrapping that logo later and designing a different one. So you can always change the logo as you go, but this is really just gonna be the primary logo that you're gonna put on your first, t-shirts. That's really gonna be the heart and center of your brand. Now, when it comes to actually finding the design, hopefully you're a designer yourself. You can design it yourself, or you can hire a designer. That's what we did. So, I say hopefully just because that means that you wouldn't have to spend any money if you can do it yourself. But, if you have to, you can hire a designer, spend maybe, $50, $100 designing a logo. Maybe you have a friend that's a designer. You can go online and find a freelancer to help you design it. And once you have that design, then, we're moving on to step four here. Now, if you haven't spent any money on the design, you've literally only spent $10 so far on the URL for your clothing brand. And if you had to spend a little bit of money on the design, that's okay too. But the next thing that I want you to do is actually start designing and building your website. Now, the beautiful part about this is that if you use a website like Wix, they actually allow you to build your entire website for free first. So you can literally make an account, you can build the entire website for free. And then once you actually like the website, you can decide to, actually sign up and pay monthly to actually get that website attached to your URL. But otherwise, you can start building that whole website for free. So I remember when we first started, I just was sitting around designing that whole website for free, and then I was like, you know what, this actually looks pretty sick. I think it's ready. And once it was ready, I decided to actually, purchase it and get that monthly fee going for the website. I think it's only like 10 or 20 bucks when you first get started. So I highly recommend using Wix. I'm not sure if Shopify allows you to do that as well, but I've heard Shopify is a really good option. But that's why I recommend Wix. People are super shocked, just on a little tangent here, to know that we use Wix for our clothing brand still. We've done, well over $100,000 in sales for our clothing brand, all through, just a dinky little website like Wix. So I recommend using Wix if you're just starting up your clothing brand. It'll save you a lot of money, and there's no risk involved. Up until this point, you basically spent no money on starting up your clothing brand, right? Like a very minimal amount of money. This is why I'm always telling my friends, I'm like, dude, if you want to start up a business, start up a clothing brand. It costs like nothing. That's also why there are so many goddamn clothing brands out there. But the next step that I want to tell you about in terms of getting your clothing brand off the ground is you're going to need to find local suppliers and local screen printing facilities. Now, this is if you're going the route of actually holding on to your inventory and you're not using a print-on-demand service. Now, if you're using a print-on-demand service, this is also your next step where you want to actually set up that, whole thing with your whole website. I don't really know how that works because I don't do it. I always hold on to my inventory, but sounds like a good time to start on that step as well, all right? So the next thing that I'd say to do is to actually find local suppliers and really do a good job or spend a lot of time finding the supplier that offers you the blank clothing that actually suits your clothing brand. You're really, really happy with the quality. You're really happy with the fit. Order some samples before you actually order, say 40 or 50 shirts that you're going to start off with, and just make sure that they're the right fit for you and your clothing brand, the brand that you're going to start. The other thing that you want to do is also find local screen printers, okay? So what we do is we basically take our design and we take our supplied clothing from our suppliers and we bring it to a screen printing facility who puts all that together, and then we have our products to sell, okay? Now, you can obviously find sometimes a screen printing facility that also offers blank clothing, and maybe you can work with them like that. But the way that I suggest doing it is just finding the blank clothing on, your own and from a separate place so that it's really nice and you can really, get exactly what you want. And then finding another screen printing place that does a really good job at quickly turning around the prints that you want to get done. And, we're able to actually take a new design, get our supplies and bring it to a screen printing facility and get everything made literally within a week or a week and a half. Okay, so that's how quickly you can turn it around. Now, I want to mention that when you're actually finding a screen printing facility for your clothing brand, you want to screen the screen printing facilities. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're actually going in there, you're talking to them, you're asking what their turnaround time is, you're asking what their pricing is so that, it works with the margins on your clothing, and making sure that, they're just good people, and, you check out the reviews on Google, you make sure that they're a good place before you actually decide to go with them. We had some bad experiences when we first started up. I think we went to, 2 or 3 different screen printing facilities, and some of them were just brutal, okay? They took like a month and a half to turn it around. They screwed up some designs on our t-shirts. So you definitely want to be doing as much as you can to make sure that these companies that you're working with are legit. Now, you know what the craziest part about all this is? You're basically done, man. Like, that's all you need to do to start up a clothing brand. The only other thing that I suggest is getting some shipping materials. You're going to need some boxes to actually send out some orders. Obviously, don't get a lot of shipping materials if you haven't sold anything yet. You haven't, you're just starting. So maybe get like, 20 or 25 boxes. We use a company called Uline around here. They offer like shipping materials. Get some tape. And that's basically all that you need. Some printer paper. You can print off, the addresses in the orders that you get. And, you've got a fully functioning business that you can just start selling with. Now, there are obviously some legal things based on whichever region you're in, whether you're in the States, whether you're in Canada, or whether you're somewhere else in the world. And I obviously can't give you any advice on that because, I live here and it's probably different from where you are. But you definitely want to make sure that, you have a legal business name and, you've got the whole, tax thing figured out. But other than that, dude, you're off to the races, and hopefully you're going to start killing it. Now that you've got your clothing brand, structurally all set up, you definitely want to start marketing your brand, okay? And the place that I recommend you start on is Instagram. So start hammering Instagram, start getting those followers up. And the way you do that is by being a little dink and going to, where your target audience is and just engaging with those people over and over again. Sounds ridiculous. I know people are like, dude, like, oh my God, that's not the way to do it. You need, a real marketing strategy, dude. That is a real marketing strategy, all right? It gets you serious results for your clothing brand if you're doing it strategically enough where you know who your audience is and you're spending enough time engaging with that audience over and over again. You will build up your following. You'll start to make some sales and you're going to start getting the ball rolling here. Then people are going to start talking about it because they've ordered your clothing already. They're going to start talking about it with their friends. They're going to be like, hey man, check out this sick clothing brand. And then they're kind of marketing it for you. And it's just going to be like this huge thing, dude. I'm so excited for you, man. So that's basically the fast guide that I had for you in terms of starting up your clothing brand from scratch, getting it going without spending a lot of money. I don't want you to overcomplicate it, man. What a lot of people do is they take it so seriously, like they write business plans and they start, spending years designing their logo. And they're like, when I launch this thing, it's going to be huge. And then they do. And then they're like, oh crap, like now is when all the work actually begins. I hope you like this video here. Let me know what you think in the comments below and actually do that because it really gives me a feel for how I'm doing. And if you haven't already, check out my free clothing brand marketing masterclass video, okay? It's 100% free to watch. All you have to do to get access is go to www.apparelsuccess.com/masterclass. You can watch the whole thing for free. And if you've made it to this point in the video, I want to let you know about the closed Facebook group that we have going on for Apparel Success. There's a link in the description below. Follow that link, join us in the group. We're a bunch of clothing brand owners, all in there to support each other and answer each other's questions. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace. Lay back, get relaxed, and just lock in and soak up all this information. When new visitors come to your account, the first thing that they're gonna do is read your bio to find out exactly who you are and what you do. Say you reach 20,000 followers on Instagram and you get some celebrities and influencers, then you'll reach a certain point where you can finally leverage that. Like some of these celebrities, it's just like, sure bro, I'm down. Send me whatever you want, thanks a lot. Like you can just tell that, they don't really wanna be formal about stuff like this. And I'm going to show you in the next upcoming modules the very strategic and systematic way that you can go about doing it. I'm really excited to show you. I'm gonna show you right now exactly what to do to implement this system for yourself, and let's crack into it right now. What I'm doing here is I'm guiding you into the light. I'm gonna show you exactly how to grow up your account from the very beginning. If you don't have anything to leverage, it just constantly keeps growing because as long as you're putting in the work, as long as the strategy's there, you will get results over time. You will get there. If you put all this in place that I'm about to share with you, you will get there. I'm really excited for you to do this.